Hello students, today we will see concurrent model and the unified process. Then first is concurrent model. The concurrent model, developed model is also called as concurrent engineering, and this model allows developer to represent iterative and parallel element of any of the process model. Shows the current concurrent process model. For see this figure. First is here modeling activity, then inactive stage. First page is communications. This is not shown in the figure but actually done. Then second is under development, represent the state of software engineering activity or task. Then awaiting changes, under revisions, under review, baseline and done. This concurrent process model allows a software team to represent iterative and concurrent element of any of the process models. This activity model may be in one of the state noted at given times. Similarly, other activities, actions or tasks, example communications or constructions, can be represented in analogous manner. Activity or modeling may be in any one of the state noted at given time. For example, early in project communications activity has completed the first iterations. This communication phase is not shown in this figure and exists in awaiting changes state, and the modeling activities which exist in inactive state while initial communications was completed now make transitions into under development state. Then the modeling activity, the model which existed in inactive state while initial communications was completed now make a transition into under development state. The customer indicates the changes in requirement must be made, and modeling activity moves from under development state to the awaiting changes state in these figures. That means this modeling activity moves from the under development state into the awaiting changes state. This generate the event analysis model corrections which will trigger the requirement analysis action from done state into the awaiting changes state. This concurrent model is applicable to all types of software development and provides an accurate picture of the current state of projects. Each activity, action or task on the network exists simultaneously with other activities, action or task. This concurrent model defines a series of events that will trigger transactions from state to state for every software engineering activity or task. Then this model having different states. The concurrent development models is also called as a concurrent model. Communications activity has been completed in first iterations, then goes to the awaiting changes. Then modeling activity completed the initial communication, then goes to the under development state. And if the customer specify the changes requirement, then modeling activity moves from under development state to awaiting changes state. The concurrent process model activities moving from one state to another state. In this model having some advantages and disadvantages. First is advantages of concurrent development model. This model is applicable to all types of the software development process. This is the major advantages of this model. It is easy for understanding and use. It gives immediate feedback from testing, and it provides an accurate picture of current state of the project. Then disadvantages, it need better communications between team members. This is not be achieved all times. Then second model is unified process. UP stands for unified process, is an iterative and incremental software development process framework. We know that the process model in the software engineering are simply a series of steps followed to create a software product. The unified process model is an iterative, incremental architecture centric and use case driven approach to the software development. The unified process recognizes the importance of customer communications and streamline method for describing the customer views of the system. That means the use case view. The unified process and rational unified process is a framework for object oriented software engineering using UML diagrams. It suggests a process flow that is iterative and incremental, providing the evolutionary feel that is essential in modern software development. This model also contains 5 phases. First is communication, planning, modeling, construction, and deployment. But these models having some various phases that is involved in unified process. These are inception, elaboration, construction, transition, and production. These are the main phases in these models. Then first phase is inception. The inception phase is similar to the requirement collection and analysis stage of waterfall model for the software development. In this phase, you would collect requirements from customer and analyze the project feasibility, its cost, risk, and profits. That means in these pages include both customer communications and planning activities. By collaborating with the customers and end users, business requirements for the softwares are identified. Second phase is elaboration phase. In this phase, you would be expanding upon activities undertaken in the inception phase. The major goal of this page is include creating fully functional requirements, that means use cases, and creating a detailed architectures for fulfillment of the requirements. This elaboration phase encompasses the planning and modeling activities of the generic process models. Elaborations refine and expand the primary use cases that were developed as the part of inception phase, then expand architecture representations to include 5 different views: use case models, analysis model, design model, implementations model, and development model. Then third phase is construction phase. In this phase, you would be writing actual code and implementations of the features for each iterations. That means in these pages, you can write actual code in any language. You would be rolling out the first iteration of software depending the key use cases that make up the core functionalities of the software system. Using the architecture's model, input and construction phase, developer and acquires the software component that will make each use case operational for end users. Then fourth phase is transition phase. In this phase, you would be rolling out the next iteration to the customer and fixing bugs. Bugs means errors for previous releases. You would also deploy build of the software to the customers. The transition phase of the unified processes encompasses the later stage of generic construction activity and first part of the generic deployment activity. Software is given to the end user for beta testing, and the software team creates necessary support informations like user manual, installation manual, etc. At the end of transition phase, the software increment becomes a usable software release. And last phase is production phase. Production phase of the unified process is useful with the deployment activities of the generic process. During this phase, the ongoing use of software is monitored, support for the operating environment is provided, and defect reports and requests for change are submitted and evaluated. This means that the unified process does not occur in sequence but rather with suggested concurrency, and it likely the same as the construction, transition, production phase are being conducted. Work may have already begun on the next software increment. Then these are the assignment questions. Thank you.